The Venezuelan National Assembly received on Tuesday the relatives of the detainees and victims of violence and their families as part of the consultation process for the amnesty law. During a parliamentary session that lasted more than 9 hours, the visitors expressed their gratitude for the opportunity to freely express their opinions in the context of the process of national reconciliation in the Bolivarian nation. The family members of detainees and victims of extremist violence also expressed their doubts and criticisms, asked questions, and made suggestions to the project for coexistence and peace, which was coordinated by Deputy Jorge Arreaza. And Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, denounced the existence of an international media siege to prevent the popular democratic model of the country being known in the world. During a council of sectoral vice presidents in the Comuna Ocho Raíces de Mecedores, Rodriguez ratified that the central axis of the national policy is the recognition of the people as the only actor with legitimate authority. She also stressed that the model of participatory democracy is a fundamental pillar which has enabled the country to face the external difficulties of recent years. In this regard, the leaders said that thanks to the democratic model, the people organize from their communities direct governmental action to meet their needs.
Son todas las instancias desde el territorio,
are all instances from the territory, from the smallest space of the territory to the national level articulated. This is the model of participatory democracy, protagonic, where the people directs the action of government, and where the national government directly attends to the will of our sovereigns, who is the sovereign in Venezuela, the Venezuelan people. Then this model that little is known, and is not precisely known for the media that does not interest them to know in the world. This model is the one that sustains Venezuela against the worst aggressions, against the worst economic blockade, is what has sustained Venezuela, that it is working together, united in all instances, with communities, where the people can have participation, where communities are organized, where neighbors organize and articulate.
On Tuesday, a group of Democratic congressmen from the United States presented a resolution to the House of Representatives to end more than 200 years of the Monroe Doctrine, proposing a new good neighbor policy in its place. The new initiative, led by New York State Representative Nidia Velázquez and supported by members of Congress such as Delia Ramirez, Rashida Tlaib, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, calls on the State Department to formally move beyond the doctrine, arguing that President Trump's foreign policy toward Latin America reflects a renewed interventionist approach. The proposal seeks to replace that framework with a new strategy for relations with the sub-region based on cooperation, mutual respect, and shared development. Meanwhile, in the United States, the circle of those involved in the Epstein pedophilia scandal is closing in on President Donald Trump, as his Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, admitted this Tuesday he had visited the island of the sexual predator. After denying it numerous times, the Secretary of Commerce had to acknowledge, in the face of overwhelming evidence, that he did visit the island where atrocious abuses against minors were committed. During a hearing with the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee, the Secretary of Commerce tried to minimize his relationship with Epstein. Lutnick had previously stated that he only visited Epstein's home in 2005, asserting that he had never been in the same place with Epstein again. Now, with this new evidence, he faces calls for his resignation from Parliament.
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it.
In other information, we go to Canada. Late on Tuesday, at least 10 people were killed there and 27 were injured during a mass shooting in a secondary school in Tumbler Bridgetown, British Columbia. According to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the suspected shooter was among those found dead with apparent self-inflicted injury. Among the wounded, at least 2 people were airlifted to hospital with serious life-threatening injuries. Local authorities also stated that all remaining students and staff were safely evacuated from the area. Tumbler Ridge is a small town located north of Vancouver, and the secondary school where the shooting took place has 175 students in attendance. Hello, join us as we go live to Venezuela with the arrival of U.S. Secretary of Energy Christopher Allen Wright to Venezuela, to the international airport Simón Bolívar of Maiquetía, La Guaira state. We can see at this moment the arrival of the highest official authority in visiting the nation, in visiting Venezuela for decades. This in a context as well in which acting President Delcy Rodriguez has made a call for establishing diplomatic conversations, diplomatic dialogue with respect with the United States. All of this following the kidnapping of President Nicolás Maduro Moros and also first combatant Celia Flores. All of this that happened after the January 3rd U.S. military and illegal aggression on Venezuela. This is a step forward into this process of diplomacy, of peaceful diplomacy that have been in effect ever since, also promoted by the president Nicolás Maduro himself before being the subject of this military maneuver, military aggression against Venezuela. This visit from this highest authority of energy of the United States is taking a place in the context as well in which still Venezuela is holding upon hundreds of sanctions imposed on the oil sector of the island, of the nation. So it is expected as well to see what this visit is going to change in this path between the two nations. This is all for the moment. Stay tuned with teleSUR English for more information on this matter. And now let's go live to Venezuela, where acting President Delcy Rodriguez is offering statements. Let's listen. Patriots, compromised, brilliant delegates from Venezuela. So, and to achieve a call for projects of investigation in the face of the leadership of women in the scientific field. Also, and international scholarships for development. And a big hug. May every day of your giving to our of the seabed, that the future of Venezuela is at the greatest hands. Big hug for all of you, and to reaffirm you have a friend to follow your steps, and also you have a friend who loves your legacy and your essence. Big hug and a big applause for all of you. Thank you very much, President. You can count on women of science and with women and girls of this free homeland, extraordinary homeland, that recognizing you the best person that could exist for this horrendous and loving task you have accepted to assume, responding to the orders of the Supreme Court. Big hug for all of you. Those were the statements at this hour of acting President Delcy Rodriguez during a meeting of women, of international women from around the world, to have Venezuela as the center for debate and also to keep boosting the legacy of women in this role and this Bolivarian task at this hour. The Venezuelan National Assembly received on Tuesday the relatives of the detainees and victims of violence and their families as part of the consultation process for the amnesty law. During a parliamentary session that lasted more than 9 hours, the visitors expressed their gratitude for the opportunity to freely express their opinions in the context of the process of national reconciliation in the Bolivarian nation. The family members of detainees and victims of extremist violence also expressed their doubts and criticisms, asked questions, and made suggestions to the project for coexistence and peace, which was coordinated by Deputy Jorge Arreaza. And